Hello, hello. Right, there we go. Everything's all sorted. Sorry about that. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Um, let's go ahead and get into what we were trying to do earlier. Our stream docket. Right. So, as I was saying, you know, if you know the Walton files, you'll know that, you know, websites are a common thing used to show off teasers and hints about the series. Think of it as Scott Cawthon's websites used to tease the FNAF series. Except with the Walton files, there's a lot more websites compared to Scott's, which is just two. So I lost count of how many exactly, but I think there's genuinely like 10 websites. And recently, one of these new websites was Behind the Scenes, which showcases a variety of art and videos of, you know, the Walton Files series. So this one here's a little song that you can listen to while you look for the fan art, which is pretty nice. I'm not going to play it just in case, you know, we deal with copyright issues. But the first thing we have here is a little pause screen, I guess you could say, for Bunny Farm, which is really nice. I don't think we ever saw something like this, but as you can see, you know, there you can just restart the game, continue it. You can look in album, which is really interesting. I wonder what type of stuff is in that. So help, like a guide, that would be really interesting. I wonder what weird stuff would happen if you went into that, and of course you can just quit if you get too scared of Bunny Farm. Um, and the next one, this one's here, is a little video um, of Bon. I'm not gonna play it because I don't know how strict, you know, copyright is. I don't know if the guy who made this originally is going to sue me or something, so I'm not going to play it. And as you can see here, here we have drawings of Ed and Molly. So these showed up in Bunny Farm. As you can see, Ed is fully coloured, while Molly's hasn't been fully coloured yet. It's just been sketched out. So yeah, we see these in Bunny Farm, but it's really nice to, you know, have a little bit of them together. So yeah, that's really nice. And for this one, we just have a little meme drawing of Felix after he crashed, you know, the car. So yeah, say what you want about, you know, the car crash jokes. They've been getting a bit old, but you know, this is just a little, you know, thing to poke fun at it, which is kind of funny. Here we have a little map of the farm in Bunny Farm. I think this is where Sophie went to meet the show bear, that's as well there, and get information about her family and her past memories, which is really nice. Here we have Bon going into a back room of some sorts at Bon's Burgers, which obviously has, you know, the gang together. There's a bloodied Bon in the corner. There's obviously a picture of Felix at the top left hand there, which is, you know, very interesting. And of course we have Booze's face blacked out, which is incredibly interesting. Here we have a little mask that Martin made that showcases blood coming down the eyes. So yeah, here's a little process of how Martin went ahead and made that. Very creepy, but very well done. So you can't see it here. You go black goo coming out from his eyes. So it's really interesting. And there's a picture on the right hand side of Martin making it. Here's Shaz's death animation, which I think popped up in the Walton files too, but I could be entirely wrong on that. It's been a minute since I've rewatched the Walton files. Excuse me. Next we have a little image of 3D Bon, which is really nice to look at. And here we have drawings of all of the characters. So I forgot the name of this little hippo guy. It's been a minute. Oh, is this okay? We'll come back to this in a second because I think I just remembered something. Um, but yeah, there's a little hippo animatronic here, Sha, Bon, and Buzu. And we have Bon, of course, with the little Bon, and I think that's Banny at the bottom there. And here we have a little meme drawing of a bunny farm. Obviously, you know, the NPCs tell you to collect stuff, and then we have Bon here just tell him, shut up, I don't care, which is nice. And here's a little drawing of him playing tic-tac-toe with the robot. I think we actually see this machine near the end of Bunny Farm, which is great. Here we have a little picture of Ed and Molly, so that's pretty wholesome. Here we have the picture of the real character, Carlotus Walton. Oops. So here we have a real picture of Carlotus Walton, and if you right past him, this is a little picture of Hillary. I think Hillary or Ashley, one of the two. So yeah, it's nice to see a little fan art of them, especially if it's Hillary, since, you know, we don't see much of her. But it's really nice to, you know, have that there. We also have a pause screen for Bunny Farm. I'd actually, not a pause screen, sorry, I think this is like the starting up screen. Here we have a picture of Bunny crying, which isn't surprising. I don't think we've seen this before, but we've obviously seen a lot of, you know, scenes where Bunny is distraught, basically. So here we have a Bon the Rabbit diagram. Now this is really interesting and noteworthy because obviously the next episode for the Walton Files is titled Cybertech Fun. So this drawing might be a key part of the next episode, as obviously, it's going to be diving more into, you know, the guys who made the animatronics and things of that nature. Here we have a picture of Rosemary or Sophie with Ed and Molly. So another Ed and Molly drawing here, which is really nice to see. Here we have a little drawing of Showbear with his. He looks very happy, and I guess you could say. Here's a little drawing of Bon, you know, a little sketch post to the side, drawn over a picture of him. Here's a picture of Felix. I think this showed up in his guilty tape or something similar to it. But this image reminds me of a portrait of him from the guilty tape, which is great to see. Here we have another picture of Felix after he crashed the car, before he crashed the car. So these ones are really interesting in particular. So these two screenshots are from Bunny Farm, obviously, where here we have, you know, Bon going up to Rocket and he's telling, you know, him to follow him. Obviously this is Ed and Molly's school, where they had a party at before, you know, they were killed off. And here we have another interesting image which shows Charles, who's saying, please help me. I think this was at the party that Charles was supposed to be helping out at before or after his death. So it's really interesting stuff. So from when I saw these images, I thought, oh, that's what, you know, is going to be in the next episode. We're going to go back to, you know, Bunny Farm, and we're going to take, you know, a look into the aftermath of Ed and Molly's death, and also take a look at the story behind Charles. So yeah, and here we have some mean drawings of, you know, Bon, Shan, Banny. You know, Banny's laughing, having a good time, and they're just not happy with her. Here we have a little drawing of Ed and Molly holding hands, before, not before, but being in front of Bon, basically, Bon behind them. And here we have a little image. This one's one of my favourites. It's like a bloodied Bon with him covering his eyes. So that's really interesting. Here is a picture of Jack Walton, as usual, looking, you know, very distraught and very out of place. Here we have sprites from Bunny Farm, all of the character sprites. I don't remember seeing this one here in Bunny Farm, but once again, I have not watched Bunny Farm, or I've not rewatched the episodes in a hot minute, so I could be missing, you know, something spot on, really common to see. So yeah, so now another picture of Bon. This one's really interesting. I feel like this would be a recent picture of Bon, I guess you could say. Yeah, this is a recent picture of Bon. You can see, so this is a full map of all of the characters, not the character, a full map of Ed and Molly's school in Bunny Farm. We have Felix obviously in the bar. Yeah, just a normal, you know, you normally see this, you know, in the thing. There's Rocket there. I said earlier maybe we're going back to the school in the next episode, but now that I'm seeing Rocket there, I get the feeling that, you know, maybe this was another thing that we saw before, but I missed it. And we have Showbear at the top right hand here, which is interesting. I definitely don't recall him being there, so it's really interesting to see him hiding in the background there. Here we have a little, a little drawing of, you know, the Bunny Farm menu. So Bunny Farm 2.0, insert coin, slight face change by the third time, fourth time. So yeah, this is basically like the more you put in a coin, the more distraught Bon's face becomes, basically, which is a really interesting touch. I wonder if we'll see anything like that when we go back to Bunny Farm. Here we have another one of my favourite drawings of Bon, a drawing of a close-up of Bon with Ed and Molly holding hands and saying, "I hate him, I hate him." Here we have a little goofy drawing of Bon, and here, and a really interesting one, the most interesting here, is Brian standing next to the Shadow Man and having, you know, his thumbs up. He looks happy, he looks like he's having a good time. It's really interesting. So that is the most important image out of this page, I would say. Here we have a picture of Jack Walton reading the newspaper, and he's very happy. More Bunny Farm maps, and this is the final interesting part. So we see Bon in the Walton house, and obviously the first image here is, "Hi Felix, Jack speaking. I was wondering if you could do me a small favour tonight," obviously referring to the situation with Ed and Molly. The second one shows Showbear in the words end, so this could, you know, signify the end, you know, of a set of scenes, I guess you could say, a transition, you know, into a different topic. Here we have just plain images of them roaming around the house, so that's the living room, the bathroom, Ed and Molly's bedroom with obviously two roses planted on their beds to signify, you know, that they passed on. A little drawing of Sophie here, which is really nice, and Carlotta's Walton. And there we go, first page done. So yeah, this one is incredibly interesting, and I really like all of these little drawings. So second one on our list, hi Hilary, is Martin's logs. So what these are is basically Martin has a page based around all the all basically updates about the series. So I just need 1 second while we switch over to that. 1 second. There we go. Okay, right, let me get this up real quick. So here we go. So next on our list is, sorry Hilary, the Q Pasta Tia website. So this is a little website called Martin Guardia de Secret Anoeter, which is Spanish. So this website was made with the purpose to basically update fans about the series. So far, the website has been updated 3 times. So the first time, basically it shows some cool facts about the series, and at the top we see the percentage of, the progress of the Walton Files episode. So for the first time this was posted, the episode started 92% complete, and 3 funny Walton Files facts. So Bon the Rabbit was originally called Bon the Dancing Hare by Jack. Ultimately, Felix vouched against that because rabbit sounds friendlier, which is right. Sorry, I zoned out a bit there. So during the late 90s, BSI expanded further than restaurant chains. The showstoppers became famous for way different products, such as random merch, plushies, furniture, toys, watches, bed sheets, lanterns, masks, lamps, toilet seats, the whole shebang. There was also a TV show for 3 seasons, and yeah, but the end finishes with a really interesting note. It's unknown what was the bigger cause for BSI to milk the Showstopper franchise to that extent. What was the money for? And this one has a more funnier note. Sophie lived on the back of a meat store for the better part of 3 years. She managed. The second log is this one here. Still at 92%, but it says good faith caring. Shah was originally named Belle or Belly, so that all the names would start with a B and be named the 4 Bs or the B pack instead of the Showstoppers. But Shah sounded more adequate. She was actually the last showstopper to be made and a final addition, because back when the Walton Files were just a fan game, I needed a character to balance the group more and a more adequate stage companion to Bon than Banny, too similar to Candy and Cindy from good old Five Nights at Candy's. So Shah was made, so yeah, my favourite showstopper right there. And going back to Sophie, Sophie was not actually homeless. It was just cheaper than paying for an actual apartment, which is kind of funny. So our final one is, this one is honestly, the first one, I did not expect this. So Carlotta's Walton. After Carlotta's Walton's passing, the family decided to go find another dog for the family. Jamito was short-lived as he bit Ed's arm and almost gave him rabies. They gave the dog to Susan. So yeah, that's one hell of a first fact, but something that I found really beautiful was, obviously, Carlotta's was the first family member of the Waltons to pass away, and something that I found really beautiful was the idea that he basically guided Ed and Molly and the other Waltons to the afterlife and guide them, in death, which is a really beautiful thing to think about, and I absolutely love that headcanon. So yeah, I really like that idea, but it's absolutely insane. I wonder if Jamito, if we'll see more about him. So yeah, I'm excited to see more about this guy. Second fact, so there are a lot of curious items inside the Old Bon's Burgers restaurant. One of them was a bear statue near the backstage and a tiger statue near the entrance. So yeah, so that one is, pretty self-explanatory, and some videos that we'll be taking a look at in a moment. You can clearly see, the signs of this. You can clearly see the tiger statue, and, you can get the idea of, the bear statue in the background, so that's good to see. Now the final one for this part is really interesting. So the Walton Files episode 4 was supposed to have a 7-minute long dialogue scene. It has now been shortened given the possibility of dragging it too long for the audience. I'm keeping the scene in though, as I feel like it escalates the ending. So this is absolutely incredible. and obviously a really big, you know, thing basically. This is, you know, a big deal, and we don't know what to expect, but it's going to be something massive, and you know, this will definitely change the course of the series. So yeah, very interesting. Now you may be wondering here, why are you just showing us these images instead of just going to the site? Well, I would do, this is what happens if you open up the site. It's just a black screen. So I had to take note of all the little screenshots or use the Wayback Machine. This is the same for all the other websites. I had to use like the Wayback Machine or you know, screenshots. So yeah, so we're gonna get into we're going to get into the big major part of the update, so the main part of the Find Jack Wilton site. So we'll get back into that in a minute. I need to go grab a drink, so I will be back in a second. I will see you guys in a couple of minutes tops. Yeah, be back soon. Okay, so let me just go ahead and set up. Need to use the Wayback Machine real quick. Find Jack Walton. Here we go. June 20th. Come on. Here we go, right. June 20th, here we go. Oh, June 30th actually, wait. Here we go, right. Okay. So, let's get back to where we were doing, what we were doing. So, the big major update for, you know, the Walton Files website was, of course, the Find Jack Walton website, the main website. So if you went ahead and opened up this website, you would be met with 3 tabs. Obviously, on the side here, you see a picture of Jack and Rosemary. So yeah, these images popped up at later dates. There's a couple duplicate images to go through. But first, if you click on the job offer pop up, you will be met with a new character, Richie. Richie was basically the night guard for Bonsburgers in the year 1974. So this is very interesting to know. He basically makes a variety of voice recordings for an unknown person talking about his job. If you want to, you're not able to listen to these on the website, the Wayback Machine, obviously, sorry. But what you can do is the Walton News has gone ahead and made a video breaking them all down. So if you guys want to, you know, listen to them, learn about them, go ahead and check out this video here. So the guy behind it is he's great for, you know, keeping up to date on everything. His name is Alvaro. He's based in Spain. He makes analog horror-based content, interviews, charity streams, all of that type of stuff. He's great, so check him out if you get the chance. So yeah, he broke all of this down in a recent video. So yeah, he has the recordings all there, going into it, giving his thoughts on it. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and check them out, there you go. Now, oopsies, you guys were meant to see that, yeah? So if you go back and you click on the second one, you will get, that's if it loads. Okay, hold on. I will try again, hold on. I will try again. Because this was working fine when I tried it earlier. Always takes so long to load. Come on. We don't have time for this. Okay. Maybe July 9th will work. Fingers crossed. Okay. 29th maybe? We'll get eventually. The only thing I don't like about the Wayback Machine, it takes like a million years to load, and it's really annoying. So, I will take a drink of my milk while this loads. It's important to stay hydrated. But yeah, while this loads, I'll talk about a little command I put in. So if you see here, I put a little command called currentread. And if you type this in chat, you'll see what book I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And yeah, it's a really good, I'm really enjoying Little Women. It's a good book. I'm on chapter, what chapter am I on? I'm on chapter 7, I think, chapter 7. No. Chapter 7 or 10, one of the two. But I'm really enjoying it so far, and I've gotten into it really quickly. It's a really good book. So yeah, I've made that little command to talk about the books I'm reading. if you guys are ever interested. I was originally going to stream when I was reading the Dun Cow Rib, but I got busy. So yeah, I've gone ahead and edited it, and I finished the Dun Cow Rib, also a good book, which I would recommend. And I've switched over to Little Women, and yeah, I'm quite enjoying it so far. I'm halfway through it. I'm on page 130 something, and I might go read after stream. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. It's a good book. I would recommend it. After Little Women, I'm planning to read. I need to scatter through my books, but I'm going to read a true crime book that a friend bought for me, and then I'll move on to Wuthering Heights. So there we go. It's finally loading. Okay. Oh, this is May. No, no, no. All of that for nothing. No, 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 no. That's old, old. July 27th. Oh, excuse me. Almost sneezed. But yeah, so if you click the second one, sorry. If you... Are you kidding me? Okay. The Wayback Machine isn't working, but luckily I have screenshots to help out. So let me go over here while I load this up, because I took screenshots of everything just in case. Here we go. Right. This is why I have backups. Thank God I kept those. Transition. Here we go. Right, so if you clicked on the second image, this little image would pop up of a map for the Bonsburgers restaurant. So as you can see here, there's like a bathroom there. I think that's a showroom there, and I think that's a general area there. Something to take note of, obviously, is this little splat. So as Walton News pointed out, is we don't know if this is an accident or if this is meant to, actually hide something. Something that I remember is I think Martin showed off this screenshot that I think was supposed to be shown in the Walton Files too, that showed Jack peeping through the door, but that was scrapped. So I wonder if we'll get something similar to that, or if maybe the Walton News was right. Maybe it's just just a little glitch. But it's nice to think about. Another thing to take note of is the artwork on the wall, and the artwork in general. Something to take note of is the fact that Rosemary is a painter, and she could have possibly, painted a lot of the artwork for the restaurant. So all of this could have been made by Rosemary, which is a really, interesting thought. It's not surprising, since Rosemary was Jack's favourite artist, which is adorable. So yeah, so that is a nice little thing to think about. So that's what happened if you click on the second image, just a little Easter egg, but it's nice to get an idea of the map. We'll likely see something based around this in the next episode. The third thing was the Meatball app. So let me take a second to load up this real quick. Here we go. So this one is something really simple, but I want to go ahead and show it anyway. So that is, of course, the little stage. So if you clicked on the third picture here, Bon, you would see his stage basically, and occasionally, if you popped in, you would see like Bon either standing near the stage or close to the camera. So it's something small, but it's really interesting to take note of. I remember one time when the website was updated almost every day, and I opened it up just as I woke up. First thing I did when I woke up, I checked the website. I clicked the little Bon thing, and I just saw Bon right at the front of the camera, and I got spooked. Just as I woke up, I was already jump scared, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, I probably shouldn't have checked it just as I woke up. I should have probably gave myself a minute. But yeah, no, that's still funny nonetheless. And as you saw probably when we first checked it, it said, some error, the page, there's an error of this page or something like that with, the pictures of Rosemary and Jack. But in this one, it says, whoops, apparently the page is still under construction. Try again later, which is really interesting. So yeah, I've had a little small details thing here. And this part is big. So if you checked the website, you would see a little minor text change that just said the phrase, you just couldn't stay home, could you? Which is really interesting. This could be referring to, a bunch of different characters. This could be referring to Rosemary. This could be what Felix was saying to Rosemary before she died. This could be referring to Jack, possibly. Or, this could, maybe even, go deeper. This could be referring to Sophie. So this was really interesting, and another thing to take note of was on this page there was like a little text changed here. So if you went ahead and checked the page which we just showed, it would say, and then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. So this is a quote from the Grinch, which is really interesting. This is likely referring to Bon or Felix or somebody, some key character. So my three guesses are either Bon, Felix, or Jack, but that one is very unlikely since I don't think Jack would, would never do anything like that. But now that I think about it, I forgot his name. But that pool guy, who made the company, was the CEO of the company that, built the animatronic Cybertech Fun. Now that I think about it, this could also possibly be referring to this guy and possibly corruption, in the field. So yeah, that is a really interesting thing to take note of. What else? Right. Anthony's logs. So Anthony is basically someone in the Walton Files who I like to consider him as a character anyway. He was basically mainly used as an explanation for why the tapes that we see, obviously the episode, is mainly just used as a reason for why the tapes exist. But his website, Bright and Gloss, got an update recently. So obviously if you scroll down, you see an update. So trip to downtown Brighton last month, spoke to this guy Jacob. He works at a local storage unit outside of town. He showed me some things regarding my, as I may call it, the Walton Files investigation. Trademark, lol. He showed me that one bunker from the forest, so this could be referring to the canine bunker. Obviously the bunker that was made after, the Bon's restaurant was shut down. So this is likely what he's referring to. So continuing on, he said he showed me that one bunker from the forest, now demolished, which is really interesting to take note of, as it hadn't been, demolished just yet. But continuing on, he said we did some digging and found some new tapes. Finally, it will take a while to decode them, which explains, why the episodes aren't out yet. Clean them and put together with my buddy Lucas. He's the shit, don't worry, it's a lot. We found a locker in a bowling aisle. Owner says they rescued it from the dumpster. Was the key was for that. We found 4 boxes containing multiple reels and tapes from 4 different segments. Let's go mystery solvers. The Jack Walton mystery continues. Is that his name? I don't watch the tapes, I just post them online. I'm a busy man, okay? And then he just messed up Jack's name and put some edits there, which was funny. But this wasn't the only update to Anthony's site. If you went ahead and checked the object possession fight, you actually got a very, oops, I must have typed it in wrong. Would actually get a really interesting little update. So I'm going to be honest, I've not actually read like the full part of it. I only wanted to put an emphasis on this part here, as this probably heavily relates to the series. Sorry, my throat's killing me. But continuing on, yeah, so continuing on, Anthony says about a story about a girl called Jasmine, I think. About a girl who possessed a doll, basically. So he says here, once the soul chooses its vessel, it becomes its body. However, the longer it spends inside it, the more it becomes its actual body. So the victim in question, Jasmine's body, was the doll. The wood was her skin, the wooden arm was her real arm. It can feel pain and it can feel everything it touches. This has been named amongst us Ghost fans as post-extensive object possession. So this part in particular is really interesting considering the state of, you know, the employees. So Jack, Rosemary, Ed, Molly, Susan, Charlie, Brian, Ashley, all of those people, considering, you know, obviously they're possessing these animatronics, and there was an emphasis on Susan and the pain she felt while being stuck in Banny and not being able to leave the facility. This is absolutely groundbreaking, as this helps us. I don't know, but it's so interesting that this line in particular was thrown in. But yeah, it's really interesting that this was thrown in particular. And yeah, absolutely incredible that this was here and this was, you know, put here. But no, this is just really interesting, and I think we should put a little pin in this. So yeah, pin in it. Pin. But yeah, yeah, that's that website out the way. What else do we have? Oh, the poker table, right. So, where did I, 1 second, let me just fade. Let me go ahead and find this poker table thingy. Here we go, right. So if you went ahead, obviously one of the websites was, I think it was just titled Poker Room. But that website got updated. And if you went ahead and opened it up, as you can see here, at first, you know, it's just a black screen. But let's see what happens if we lighten this up a bit. Here. What's this? So obviously, it's a bloodied version of the poker room. So here is a little comparison. That's the best I could do. Sorry, I'm not a good editor yet. So this is the bloodied room basically. And obviously, in one of the screenshots that I showed, where was it? This one? No. In one of the screenshots that I showed, obviously, you know, the poker room was much cleaner. And that was going back to the snake thing. So it was much cleaner, and now when you check it out, it's all bloody. And this is really concerning but interesting at the same time what happened in this poker room. So yeah, it's very interesting. I love teasers like this that are not as they seem. So yeah, this is one of the teasers that you would get if you went to the poker room. Now, moving on to our final teasers. So what would happen is the website updated within 20 minutes, and the first text that said, "We haven't met before, have we?" The second one goes on to say, "Pleasure to meet you. My name is," and then Bon. So Walton News reported on it, said, "What the fuck is going on? It's 3:44 a.m. and I can't go to sleep because a white dude popped up on the website for some shit. What is this?" And then Martin replies stating, "Haha, I've waited so long to show him." So this is really, really interesting. Who is this guy? What is his business? What is he up to? So this is really interesting. So 1 second, I'm going to pull up, where would we have seen this guy before? Excuse me. Where would we have seen this guy before? Where would he have gone? How do we know about this guy? How do we know about him? So let me pull it up. Yeah, I apologise, guys. I had this all organised and I still can't find everything. Let me find it. Okay. Oh my god, I'll let you look it up. Great, amazing, it's fantastic, lovely. What was I going to do? Right, find the Bond thing. Future starts. Future. Let me look up Ash's tweets about it because she's probably future. Here we go. Find it. Thank you. Huge shout out to Ash for helping me find this. Oh, turned off Lofi Girl by accident. Let me throw that back on real quick. But yeah, thank you Ash for, keeping all this stuff posted. Ash posts like a lot of the Walton Files teasers, so he's helped me out immensely here by doing this. So you may be wondering, who is this Bond guy? Well, basically, on the website, I don't care, I'll just throw that on. So you may be wondering, how the heck do we know this Bond guy? Well, oops, wrong one. Teehee, wrong one. So you may be wondering, how do we know this guy? Well, on the website, his face was plastered all over the website. The future starts now, the future starts now. And as you can see, it is an exact match almost. So this is really interesting. How are they connected? So it's really interesting to think about who this guy is. But he is also, I wouldn't consider him a new character. Well, I guess, sorry, I take that back. He is technically a new character. He's a point of interest, basically, a new point of interest. And we're definitely going to get some more information about him in the next episode, which is really exciting. Now, what's next? That's covered, that's covered, that's covered. Object possession. Let me check my bookmarks. I had some threads about Bond that I wanted to check out. Let me go ahead, throw these up. Okay, right, all set. Right, that's here. Here. Okay, cool. Everything's set. Sorry about that, guys. But firstly, shout out to Ash for having all this stuff. Ash has helped me out a lot with putting all the teasers together. She does a good job at, you know, putting all the teasers together, writing threads about it. So please check her out. Let me. She's private right now, so I don't know if she wants me, you know, sharing her account around. But there's her at if you're interested. So Bon, let's get into it. So Ash made a little thread about everything we know so far. So he can communicate via the website, which is really interesting. He's just referred to as him. He likes to duplicate a bunch. They might be related to each other. So one of the teasers, the earliest teasers, which said lights, camera, action, at the bottom in hidden text was Bon is still here. These little files here could be related to Bon, and the file named Jack's Still Here obviously playing into the conspiracy theory that Jack Bolton is possessing Bon, which, you know, is like a common theory. And Evan, the voice actor for Bon, replied to this little thing about Ash, you know, showcasing responses from Martin's a Q&A Martin did a while back. And Evan, the voice actor for Bon, replied to Ash with a little symbol of some sorts, which is really interesting, and we don't know what this means just yet. Here is a little thread about Bon speaking. Bon. So there's a little file of Bon supposedly speaking. So as I stated, Bon and Bon, I know that's like a bit complicated, but Bon and Bon are definitely connected. So it's really interesting, and I'm very excited to see him in the next installment. Secondly, going back to the website real quick, Ash pointed out that it's really interesting how obviously the only things that duplicated on the site were Jack, these pictures of Bon, and the future starts now, guys. So that's really interesting that these are the only things that duplicated. This could be a sign that they're all connected possibly. So yeah. And going back to Bon, a while ago on the Walton News live stream for charity, we got this little drawing of Bon with a smirky little face. And yeah, so it's really interesting. And in this room, Bon got shot by the Grinch, which makes the Grinch reference on the website just hit differently and makes it really interesting. So perhaps that Grinch quote could be referring to, you know, this guy. This could be referring to Bon. It's really interesting that we got that little link. So yeah. Next, Q&A. Okay, Q&A time, gamers. So Martin did a Q&A recently, and Ash did a thread covering everything about it. So firstly, the guy behind Bugbo made a little question asking favourite Walton Phil scene, and that was that Ed and Molly segment on episode 3, which made Martin realise which he wanted the series to be. And we can expect more character development, more of Sophia's story, which is great. Out of Martin's favourites, the third episode is his favourite. The next Walton Files episode is expected to be over an hour long, but the exact runtime is still unsure at this time. Shadow Man will pop up more. The food is canonically terrible in Bon's Burgers, which is funny. Um, then we got an announcement that Sophie and Jenny won't appear in the next episode. So that throws. I thought those Bunny Farm screenshots that we covered, the one of exploring the household, the Walton's household. I thought that would be Jenny going back to the game with her. Did I say Jenny? I meant Sophie. Sorry, Sophie going back to Bunny Farm with Jenny and exploring the households. But it looks like that could not happen, so that's temporarily off the table. There won't be jump scares necessarily in the next episode, which is interesting. Um, there's a lot of misinterpretations of the series, which is expected. Um, the person then goes on to ask if the third episode was a hallucination, but no, it was in fact very real. And we have found every Walton Files website. So what Martin says was the most challenging part is it also requires there will be more live action parts. Well, of course, sticking to the classic animation it's known for, but I'll also be branching out into live action, which is really interesting to see. Lots more is being put into art direction, framing, sorry. But it's really a lot has been redesigned. They're currently working on plushies and merch, and a special Bond plushie, possibly referring to that guy that we just talked about a minute ago. It doesn't give an F about consistency, and the art style can change out of nowhere, which is very true. That's good to know. And another little fact about Sophie, she's canonically an artist like Rose. The voice actress behind Susan, Coraline, makes 3D stuff. So thank you, Coraline, for the 3D stuff. And this one's really interesting. So there was originally going to be an animatronic called Holly, but she was scrapped. Ash went ahead and showcased a screenshot of when we were watching the Walton Files episode. There was like a duck in that scene with Bon, and not that doesn't help nail it down, but one of the first scenes at the sleepover, you see like a duck on the cover. That could possibly be, in my mind, Holly. I was also going to say the hippo could maybe be Holly, but once again, that goes back to I've not rewatched the episodes in ages. I could be wrong there. So this part's even really great. There is 12 episodes planned for the series, 8 left after episode 4, which is huge. I did not expect that many episodes for the series, but I'm all here for that. So are Bon and Shadow Man related in any way? And then he just says, great question. Obviously he's not able to elaborate on that, as that would be a massive spoiler, but it's really interesting to take note of. We will learn more about Felix and what happened to him after the crash, which is good to know. From screenshots that were shared outside of the website, and we'll go into those in a second. We're basically going to get an idea of what happened after the crash, basically, because there's an emphasis on. We'll get into it in a second, but yeah, there's very interesting. So Martin was from the Q&A, we learned that Martin's favourite animatronic was Bon. And out of the specials that he made, his favourite was the Halloween one. So the guy who voiced Felix Croker left the crew a little bit ago. So episode 4 will be the last work as him as Felix Kranken. So after the next episode, they'll be looking for a casting call. And this part is really interesting. So someone asked, has anyone ever successfully predicted what will happen in the future, even something super minor? And Martin responded, quote, "Yup, and I was super blown away about how they managed to predict a plot point that wasn't even revealed, yet over a minimal detail." So Martin has the full story of the Walton Files planned out. And this part's interesting. Martin says there's some Miles gore in the next episode, so it may get age restricted, which isn't surprising. Obviously, you know, if you've watched the Walton Files, there is, you know, a bit of gore. In the behind the scenes website, obviously, there was Shaz's death animation, basically, and that was quite graphic. So yeah, first scene created for the Walton Files. Little Bon waving at the beginning of episode 2. It was made all the way back near the end of 2019. And there we go. So thank you, Ash, for all of these little screenshots. Amazing. Thank you, Ash. Appreciated. Any other interesting things? No, apologies. So a lot of time has passed since Bunny Farm, and the scene of horror web series has gone through so much since then. Have you thought about how episode 4 might compare to the current scene surrounding it? So Martin responds, "I think 4 will fit nicely as its own thing rather than adapting to current analog horror." And from a little screenshot showcasing the development of the Walton Files. So the first episode took a month, second took 2 months, third took 9 months, fourth took 2 years, and 5 and 6 will be made at the same time to make up for the 2-part season finale, at least 1 week from each other, so it'll take a while. Next, what else do we have on the docket? The current website. So if you open up the website right now, this is what you'll see. So you'll see the quote, "We are still here." Now, I'm going to try something. What happens if we go ahead and we throw this into an image editor? So let me throw that up real quick. Fade. Let me get this open. Here. But okay. So that. What's this I see? So it's changed back. Fade. As you can see here, we have the phrase "we are still here," and from brightening up, you can see the K9 unit, which is really interesting. So we are definitely going to go back to the K9 facility in the next episode, I think, which I'm really excited for. I'm really excited to see more. I'm excited to see what has changed since the last episode and how everything is going to pan out. So I'm very excited. Last thing to cover, Walton Files related. Let's see. It's probably... Where did I throw it all? I had like a bunch of images ready. Where did I throw it all? Stream. I'm gonna need to resave these. Sorry guys, give me a second. Give me a second. I need to go ahead and resave all of these. I swear I had them with me, but I must have, excuse me, I must have unsaved these. Right. download. There we go. But yeah, apologies about this, guys. Here we go. Right, Walton files. Silly me, Walton files. Teaser. The only thing I don't get is I remember sitting down making the stream docket and I added all of these. And when I stream, when I load up stream and I go and check, they're just gone. They just disappear. So that's good to know. I had one more teaser that I missed, but I couldn't find that one. So right, it will work out. Hidden fun. Nope, teaser 2. Never mind, I got an idea. Let me load up Walton News. They probably have the last teaser I'm looking for. Come on, where is it? Here we go. I think I found it. I think I lost it. Hold on. Hold on, gamers. Here we go. Found it. Yes. Found it, found it, found it, found it, found it, found it. Found it. Awesome. Right, found it. We're set. Let me just say out this last thing. Right, so let me just, yeah, I have that saved. Right, cool. We're set. Sorry that took a minute, everybody. So Martin went ahead and posted just a couple of teasers on his Twitter. They've since been purged, but once again, Ash, thank you, Ash, for carrying the Walton Files updates. Went ahead and put together, took note of all of them, so we're going to go through them now. Stream Walton Files. Here we go. Right, so our first teaser from Martin is here. So this one right here is a picture of Jack, obviously, and this is a picture of him on a magazine, basically covering, you know, his revolutionary business. And at the bottom here, Detroit Warriors versus Mandela Meerkats, which is a Mandela catalog reference. So something a little nice little Easter egg Alex Custer threw in one of the Mandela catalog episodes, which is just a nice nod to the series. Something about this series that I really like is not something I like about this teaser specifically is this is just Jack. Every time we've seen Jack, it's always that guy who went missing, or the guy who, you know, the guy from, you know, the mysterious businessman, but here he's just Jack, and that's really reassuring to see. So yeah, it's just a nice little nod, and I'm happy we get to just see Jack, just Jack. This was taken on May 10th, 1974, I think. So obviously everything is fine and dandy, I believe. when this was taken. So another thing to note here is that Jack, no, this is just Jack once again, but Felix is not here. Every teaser that we've seen of Jack is, we usually see him with Felix. And here that's not the case. Here we just see Jack on his own, which is really interesting to see. So that's a really interesting little note. Here we have a little teaser of Sophie giving a little dog a piece of meat, obviously a nod to that teaser we saw that obviously Sophie was living inside of a meat shack basically to get by. In our final teaser showcases Felix and Jack, obviously, you know, Bunny Smiles Incorporated were fun and genius come together. And obviously, of course, knowing Felix, Jack's face is crossed out and his name has been crossed out. Well, Felix is completely, you know, Felix is completely fine basically. Whereas, you know, his name is fine, everything about him's fine, whereas Jack has a destroyed face behind him. So that's an interesting note. And yeah, I think that's finally us done with Find Jack Walton teasers. So yeah, my favourite teaser, I apologise for the scaling issues, but this will be quick. So this teaser basically showcases the Walton house throughout different times of the day, and this is really interesting. And at night, things get interesting when the phone rings, which is really interesting to take note of. So the phone rings late at night. Yeah, really interesting. Obviously, when we last left off the series, you know, Jack was, you know, ringing the phone to Felix asking for a favour for his friend. And yeah, it's really, really interesting. So yeah, that's all the Walton Files teasers. And how long did that take? How long did it take for me to get through all of those teasers? Let me check real quick. Let me load up the stream again and see how long it took for me to just get over one part of my docket. So an hour in and I just finished the first part of my docket. Oh my god, this is actually really embarrassing. Okay, so let's get into the rest of the docket. Okay, hopefully these ones are quick, they won't take an hour, but let's get right into it. So, right, so the next part of the docket, Toontown news. So the Halloween update, so Toonfest is currently active, Toonfest for charity, it's currently active right now, and it's really interesting. So Joey went ahead, our lovely Joey went ahead and made a stream about the update, about some things, and one of the things he talked about was, he said, yeah, so red-nosed deers and white polar bears will be coming back this, you know, black cats, polar bears and all that jazz will be coming back on brand, you know, on October, December. But it was really interesting, as Joey says this, Joey. Oh, that's another thing to note as well. He said there's no plans for other types of tunes on Toontown Rerun, which I'm honestly fine with. I'm completely happy with the tunes we have right now, personally. So I'm completely fine with that. But yeah, there's no plans for other tune related stuff, which is I'm fine with. We have like a million. Tune discourse is something, alright. Every time someone mentions Toon Discourse, I just think about the Toontown Operation Desert Storm tunes, and I don't like them. Okay, let's continue. Sorry, I should not be billing other Toontown servers at this time. We'll do that later. Was that Joey? Spooky things? Tell us more, Joey. Tell us more, Joey. Damn. So we don't get much there, but as you can see, there is something spooky, as Joey said, coming to Toontown in October, which I'm excited for personally. It's like a minor update probably, but I'm excited nonetheless. Um, Another thing that Joey talked about, by the way, Toonfest is live at this moment for donations to charity. So let me go ahead and, after this stream ends, please go ahead and check them out. They're great. They're great people. They're a great cause. So yeah, please check these guys out. They're great. Let me send their channel on my chat. There we go. There we go. And I'll go ahead and pin it. Can I pin it? Can this stupid heart thing get out of the way? I'll pin it later when this dumb heart thing gets out of my way. But yeah, Toonfest is a great cause and they're great people and you should check them out. Even just tuning in and sharing the words helps out a lot. So yeah. So back to Joey again. He talks about something really interesting. So obviously, of course, that goes back to the announcement at Toonfest that there's going to be a new playground, all that jazz. They're going to be new cogs, but obviously they're not just going to wake up one day and say, "Hey guys, new update, here you go." They're obviously going to, give an announcement in advance. So yeah, this is what they're referring to basically. Just thought I'd give some extra context. Small update. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is great. This is really great. So we are having an update very soon. Not very soon, but there is a small update on the way that might be worthwhile. Perhaps that's maybe referring to the October update, but you never know. These could be two separate things. But yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Anything else? Yeah. So another thing that was announced during the stream was about the new cogs. And all they said was the new cogs under new management will not be featured in the cog gallery similar to Boss's. So this makes sense. Obviously the boiler is not in your cog gallery. He's his own thing and this is the same for these managers, which will be really interesting. So yeah, these new managers won't be in your sticker book, your cog gallery. They just don't exist basically. So yeah. Okay, what else? They also made an article just going over all the stuff that we already know. Excuse me. They just went over all the stuff we already know. Just rephrasing everything we saw during Toonfest. And something that was really interesting. I covered this, when it came out. But something that I wanted to cover was, their attacks. Since at the time I didn't watch the stream detailing the cogs and their attacks. Let me throw the music back on real quick since that's us done for now with Joy. So let me throw on, let me skim through their streams and try and find it. But yeah, it's really interesting that we're getting all of this content and it's really great. It keeps us busy. I'm really excited personally for all this content. Here we go. Creating the cogs. Here we go. So, here we go. So, let's head over to So as you can see here on the little stream, these are the battle designs for the club president, basically. So the club president is of course this little lady. She has golf balls for earrings. She has a hairdo. She has a big smile, and a lot of lipstick on. She's a very narcissistic character, basically, and this is her trading card. This is her trading card, basically, that you can go ahead and get if you are a Toontown mailer, basically. So these are our attacks. So phase 1, so this is really interesting. They are put in different phases. Obviously, I guess the boiler technically. Yeah, the boiler in Kaboomberg would sort of fall under this line. But these managers all have certain phases, which is interesting to take note of, an important part for strategy when taking these bosses down. So the commands are: phase 1 is a race to the finish, a DPS check to see who can dish out the most damage the fastest. So under par, Toons who can't defeat the president at or under her score will face retaliation. So this isn't surprising. Retaliation moves aren't nothing new, but this part is really interesting. So what do they mean by her score? We don't know yet. We'll need to wait until we see it in game, but that will be very interesting. In a penalty stroke, the president gains an additional attack for every minion beat for the rest of the fight. So this is really important to take note of and something you'll need to be careful of. You can't just sound constantly and take out the whole group of cogs. You need to be strategic about it and plan your moves carefully. So it's really interesting to take note of how this might affect the game. You'll need to, focus on the club president during this phase, basically. So yeah, really interesting. And then after, you're able to, put up with these, and you're able to get to our phase 2. So phase 2 for the club president, as the team describes, a chess game. To ensure a checkmate, Toons must fight off all the cogs who are being supported by the club president. So I get the idea that during phase 2, she's getting desperate, basically, to beat you. So one of the moves that she'll pull is Titanium Buffer, and the president will heal a minion to keep them in the fight, to keep her supported. Because obviously it might go back to the penalty stroke thing. She gains an additional attack. Or no, sorry, that's the opposite of that, I'm guessing, in phase 2. And yeah, so it's the opposite compared to phase 1. So phase 1, you'll need to be careful and strategic about clearing out cogs. But for phase 2, that's the complete opposite. You need to clear out as much cogs as possible. And then driving range is the second one, which states the cog has received the president's personal club, they will deal more damage. So yeah, that is, an important part, basically. I guess I'll call this called her heir, basically, her savior, basically. She's relying on this cog to help keep her going and to help support her during this fight as she's growing desperate to defeat your team. So yeah, we next move on to the cleric. Here we go, the cleric. So the cleric's abilities constantly change the battle. So witness protection. This cog is in witness protection. While protected, they are immune to all damage and cannot be lured. So this is really interesting to take note of. This heavily depends on what type of cog you're dealing with. Let's say for instance, it's a 9. It's not a big deal, but if it goes higher than that, 12, maybe even possibly level 13s, if the facility can support that, then this is a big deal. This could either screw you over heavily or be in your favour. So Subpona Witness is her second attack, so the cleric will constantly summon jurors until she is defeated. So this reminds me of um Chip's fight. Basically, where cogs are constantly coming, coming, and coming. And depending on the group, you know, you might not be able to sound through them. Basically, you won't be able to take them out. They'll just be like a bird in the background, basically, like Chip's fight. They're just there constantly, and you need to deal with them. And then, like the boiler, you're forced to follow a certain phase of rules. So something that's interesting here is they don't know the the phases for the clerk. I can't tell if that's an accident or if this is on purpose, but it's really interesting. So objection, which is an Ace Attorney reference, tunes who do not use instantly damaging gags will be docked. So this will be interesting to see the consequences. How much laugh could this take off you? What does dockling actually mean? And things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see how this will play out. Objection should not be too hard to fight against. But yeah, objection is a really interesting thing. But like I guess the boiler retaliation plan, this could work out in your favor if you just follow the game basically. And that one is motion to strike. So you have a feeling that using sound will result in retaliation. So this one is really interesting. With the boiler fight, you're not able to use you're not able to attack the boiler for a certain amount of turns, and that goes for any gag. And it's only for maybe like 3 turns or so, but for the cleric, that's the opposite. One gag track is banned throughout the whole battle. You're not able to use this gag track no matter what, no exceptions. And this is really interesting, especially since Toontown Rewritten is heavily sound based. So it's going to be really interesting to see the strategies that pop up from this and how players are going to handle, a soundless strategy. The team also mentioned that, it's a big day for soundless tunes, which is really exciting to see. Since still today, soundless tunes still get screwed over in groups. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it affects that aspect of the community. So yeah. I don't think there's any questions of note that they asked about the cogs, but if they do, I'll let you guys know. And that is the Toontown Rewritten stuff covered. So, summer update for Clash. So, a little bit ago, Toontown Corporate Clash teased an update at the start of August. Now, what they did was, they basically put a series of images teasing, everything. No point in showing them, to be honest, since we're just going to go through these. So, yeah. So they made this little announcement covering all, the things about the update. Key points of interest: gag up unites have been removed and turned into something known as counterfeits. So we'll cover these in a second. The maximum amount of counterfeits you can have is 9999. So if you have more than that, then it will be lost. So Windows 7 and 8.1 are no longer supported for the game. Rest in peace. And now all bosses give tune-up unites, which is awesome. The Oak will give 7 unites, which is great. And yeah, so the only way to increase these is the surplus Sunday